Hello, Manjari. Hare Krishna, Chacha Ji.
Chacha Ji? You did.
Or should I call it Chachu?
No. No Chachu.
No Chachu?
No.
Ji.
Freya tells mommy and me no. You tell him no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Gorga Dada Prabhu singing today?
Yes. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Where is everybody?
It's only 26.
Oh. This guy's dad's not on yet.
Yeah.
Hmm. Did it rain at your place?
Mm-hmm.
It stormed badly here.
Same.
What time did you leave the office?
Hmm? I left 5:15 or so.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. What's up? Bhaiya said he's gonna call Chachaji Chachu. So I said how Shreya says no. That's what Chachaji should say to Bhaiya. You're muted. You're muted. There you are. No, Shreya says with her tiny finger too. No.
नहीं वो जो बोलेगा वो बोलेगा बेटा.
No. Like Shreya says no. That's what I say.
देखो अमित भैया आ गए.
Yep. You're right.
Hare Krishna, everyone. I'm going to stay muted now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Manju, you feeling better?
Yeah, but yeah, so much. I'll text you after. I went to an EMT yesterday as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Glad you're doing better.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
Thank you, Amit. Anytime that anything happens, I just tell her, call Amit Bhaiya. She, oh yeah, good idea.
Yep, no problem. Anytime.
Oh, don't worry. Anytime.
Mommy, be going.
Why?
I'm
I'm talking to him.
No problem. No problem at all.
Hare Krishna. Bye, everyone.
Why are you saying bye?
How do I stop the video?
No. You can leave the here. I'll turn it off for you. Hold on. There. Hey Krishna Sridhar uncle, happy birthday.
How did you know it was his birthday, Manju?
Bhaiya told us. Dad needs to pull his camera up.
All right, everyone. It's 7:30. So we'll go ahead and get started. There's no verse today. So I'll ask Gorgadada Prabhu to unmute himself and begin chanting.
Pro, tell video Kirtan for 15 minutes, right?
Now do it until 7:50 today, please. So
Okay.
20 minutes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtati Shatari
Namaste Saraswati Jai Shri
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Jai Jai, Jai Jai, Jai Jai, Jai Jai Hari 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 Hari.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I'll ask Ramgiri Dai Prabhu to unmute himself as he has been designated chanter Yashomati Nandan today.
Hare Krishna. Dandavats to everyone. Abhishek, do we repeat this or it's a solo?
Repeat.
Okay. I hope I'll have your support.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Yashomati Nandana Braja Baranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana.
Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Yashomati Nandana Braja Baranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana.
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara
Kaliya Damana Vidhana
Kaliya Damana Vidana
Kaliya Dhamana Vidhana
Kaliya Damana Vidana
Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa
Amaladina Mamiya Vilasa
Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa
Amaladina Mamiya Vilasa
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bhora
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara
Bamsi Badana Suvasa
Kamsi Vadana Suasa
Brajajana Palana Surakulanasana
Rajajana Palana Surakulana Sana
Brajajana Palana Surakulanasana
Rajajana Palana Surakulana Sana
Nanda Godhana Rakhovala
Nanda Godana Rakovala
Nanda Godhana Rakhovala
Nanda Godana Rakovala
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
Sundarananda Gopala
Sundarananda Gopala
Sundarananda Gopala
Sundarananda Gopala
Jamuna Tatachara Gopi Basanahara
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Basanahara
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Basanahara
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya.
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya.
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara.
Radhavalabha Vrindavana Natavara
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara.
Radhavalabha Vrindavana Natavara
Bhakti Vinodashraya.
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Bhakti Vinodashraya.
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Yashomati Nandana Vrajabaranagara Kokula Ranjana Kana.
Yashamati Nandana Brajabara Nagara
Gokula Ranjana Kana.
Gokula Ranjana Kana
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Natavar Radha Natavar Radhe.
Jaya Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Thank you. Jai Shri Shri Radha Natwara Bhagavan Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nittai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Ramji.
Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Vraja, the delight of Gokula, Khana, the wealth of the lives of the gopis. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure, holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet, nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Vraja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lovers. He is always playing on a flute and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Vraja, the destroyer of various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and the beautiful cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Raja who were bathing there. He delights in the mellows of the Rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavana, and the shelter and only refuge of Thakura Bhaktivinoda. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramgirdai Prabhu. So before I turn it over to Maharaj for tonight's program, I do want to make a quick announcement. Today is Sri Radha Vallabh Prabhu's birthday. So if we could all just wish him a happy birthday, I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Happy
Hare.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Birthday. Hare Krishna.
All right. So with that, let us welcome our mentor, our guide, our dear friend, His Holiness Ratavaja Maharaj. Maharaj, can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Did I do it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see everyone. What are you laughing at,
Hare
Sridhar?
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Manj. You look pretty comfortable there.
I am Raj.
Yeah, I might just push my lazy boy
You
back.
might as well. Get comfortable.
Uh-oh, you gotta unmute or it's gonna echo.
No, mute. Okay.
So nice to see everyone again. Anybody have any particular topic they'd like to discuss tonight? Or should I just spin the page? Any particular topic anyone is interested?
Maharaj, it is your class, so whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay.
Choice tonight, Maharaj. So
Then I'll just start glorifying everybody on the page here. So we'll just read a little bit from the Gita. I thought about one verse. Let's see how long. Okay, we can do a few. There's a nice section here. In the 6th chapter, a very nice section. We'll start with verse 25 of the 6th chapter. If you have a book, you can follow. If you see me with my sweatshirt and my hat, it was 86 degrees yesterday and it was 46 today. So even though it's 70 in the house, I still think I'm outside. So nice to see you, George. Nice to see you, Jai Shri Radhe. Let's see who else is on here. Saroji, I can see. Shiramani and Braja Bhumi. I saw for a second ago. What happened to Braja Bhumi? I just saw a second. Some people's I know different. By there's Kiran. I know in Gadadhar. Nice. If I missed anybody that now, is that Gayatri from Hong Kong? Or is that another Gayatri? Okay, that Gayatri from nobody knows. That's the Gayatri. And Mahatma Singh. Okay, I think anyway we know most everybody here. Nice to see you, Sharmani. Shroji, nice to see you again. And everyone. Seems like it's easier for everybody to show up on Zoom than it is to drive over to Nitai Gaur Sundar's house. It's like, especially if you're in Nashville, in Austin, Texas, it's hard to show up. One day drive. Roger Boomies in Houston. George and Jai Shirade are in Dallas. I think if that's Gayatri, that may be Gayatri from Nashville, or it could be Gayatri from Hong Kong. Gorbadadhar is in, I think he's in
Knox-
Knoxville, right?
Yeah, Anaxul Maharaj. Maharaj, the Gayatri must be from Hong Kong, not from here.
Yeah. Oh, we have some Miami people, Miamians. They call them Miamians. So I really like this section of the Gita. We'll start with, could start with 24. 24 has a very nice story. Okay, we'll do 24. We'll start with 24. Very nice verse. Sanashchayena yuktavyo yoga nirvinaseta saha sankalpa bhavan kamas taktva sarvams aseshataha manas savandriyagramyam vinayam yasamantataha. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses and all sides by the mind. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Om Gyan Tamarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumanitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvase Shasunyavadi Pasachade Shatare Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Jitanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevya Namo Namaha. I think many of you may be familiar with this purport because this is the one that has the story of the sparrow that lost the eggs in the ocean. Anybody ever hear the story of the eggs? I can't see anybody's picture, so I guess I can't see anybody going like this. Manj, did you hear the story of the sparrow that lost? Okay, Manj, I can see. So I'll read the purport here. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. Even the first sentence is very, very, what would you say, powerful. Powerful in the sense that we should be very determined. Spiritual life, Srila Prabhupada explains, is like a razor's edge. Any inattention can immediately cause havoc. Prabhupada said you're flying along smoothly, but any inattention and bloodshed, any inattention. And at the same time, with this determined effort, the word vrita is a word that's used sometimes, vrita, strong vrita, strong determination, strong, what would you say, vrita meaning, what is the word, somebody help me, vrita is like commitment, very, very strong commitment, just like we take Purushottam vrata to engage in extra hearing and chanting or eliminating Cheetos from our Doritos from our diet. That was meant for just one of my dear friends. And to give up something and to add something, give up something that we're attached to and add something to our spiritual life, Vidarvrata. And at the same time, patiently execute the practice and without deviation. Once we make commitment, there should be no deviation. Prabhupada was many times say, what is the difficulty? One time a devotee was explaining, Prabhupada, I have a difficult controlling my mind. He goes, what is the mind? It was a foreign conception for him. Just like I was explaining on my Japa WhatsApp, that the mind is easily distracted, and sound vibration is one way to distract the mind. And the idea is, it's like if you're outside and you hear a car go by, immediately you check, you make sure it's okay. Or sometimes you hear airplane or you hear dog barking. Immediately your attention is drawn. And so the sound vibration has very, very powerful potency. In the same sense, spiritual sound vibration in another sense, is even more potent and more powerful. But the problem is that because of ignorance, just like it's described that in the Nectar of Instruction, is that the chanting of the holy names is very, very sweet, very, very sweet, like nectar. But due to avidya, ignorance, we don't taste. It's given the example of someone who has jaundice-like condition. Jaundice-like condition, thank God I've never had jaundice, but my understanding is someone who has had jaundice, even if you give them something sweet, it tastes very bitter or pungent. I think it's bitter. Tastes bitter according to what I've read in Prabhupada's books. It's very bitter tasting. And even though you know it's sweet, still it tastes bitter. Yet the medicine, according to Nectar of Instruction, the medicine for jaundice, for that jaundice is to take, what do they call it? Sugar candy. Sugar candy to relieve the jaundice, to rid the body of the disease. And so in the same way, because we have this jaundice of avidya meaning ignorance. This ignorance means that I identify myself with something that I'm not. It's just like sometimes if you, I remember I was in Brazil, I may have told you this story before. We lived on right off Angelica Avenue, which is the same as Fifth Avenue in New York City. Sao Paulo is a huge city, huge city. And we're just like, like a block, less than a block away from this, what would you say, main thoroughfare. And I'm on the third or fourth floor on the veranda and looking down and watching the people going, Prabhupada used the word breakneck speed. They're going breakneck speed. And where are they going? They have no idea who they are. So how can they have an idea of what they're meant to be going to? And I was just sitting there. Of course, the beginning of this story was as I was going to Brazil. I told you this story before. I was going to Brazil because the currency crashed. And we gathered up all the US funds we could, thousands of dollars, to go down to Brazil, because with dollars if you had US dollars, you could print a book that would normally cost $1 for a dime. And so I went on the plane, and too much, more than I was supposed to carry. I guess you can declare it, but I don't want to declare, because then once you declare, the person in these types of countries call their friends, the guy with the orange robes on has got too much money. And so I got to the airport, and the devotees forgot to pick me up. I'm sitting there, all I have is a backpack with 1 or 2 days of clothes on my back and the briefcase fill, and they forget to pick me up. So a taxi driver picks me up, and those were VW Bugs, and they took the front seat out, so you sat in the back of the VW Bug. And we're driving down the road. Have you heard this story before? I told this story before. You heard this story in Manjari? You heard? No? So I'm driving down the road with this taxi driver. I speak 24 words of Portuguese. He speaks 24 words of English. We're trying to communicate. And we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden we're passing a cemetery. And the person tells me, "You'll be happy to know that this is where all the millionaires are buried." Great accomplishment. For him, it was like a great accomplishment. If you can make $1 million, then you can be buried in this place. If you're not making $1 million, then you got to go into the hood, someplace in the hood underneath the viaduct or what, the flyway. Then you can be buried, buried under the, septic tank or whatever it is. And so very, very proud moment for him. Yes, he wanted to tell me this is where all the millionaires are buried. So again, looking down at the crowd, I was saying, where are they going? Where are they going? What are they doing? No knowledge of what they are. So how can they know what they're meant to do and where they're meant to go? They're going around in circles, like a dog shakes in his tail. Like a dog, huh? You have to say dog, D-A-W-G, dog. For friends of B.V. Govinda Maharaj, you got to say dog. You can't say dog, you got to say dog, huh? And so here's the idea that without deviation, the tendency is to deviate. Therefore, one needs Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, just like we wear 3 strands of neck beads, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, 3 strands of neck beads, to signify that we have a spiritual lineage that protects us from deviation. We may deviate, but they will give us the boundaries by which we know this is in bounds, this is out of bounds. Most people, I know Satsrup Maharaj wrote, I think it was in the Japa Reform Notebook, he said, prior to coming to Krishna consciousness, we didn't even know what sinful life was. I had no idea what, I mean, we have a little bit of, what is the word Prabhupada used for sub-religious principles. We have a little understanding of sub-religious principles. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. I mean, these are basic, these are actually meant to help us raise just to a platform of goodness. I told you that story. I was here in Dallas, actually, at the lake, listening. I used to go to the lake just and listen, chant, and listen to lectures sometimes to get a little break. See, not buildings, but just see the water. And Prabhupada was saying that the Christians have their 10 commandments and we have our 4 regulative principles. They're the same thing. So I'm thinking, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't kill. I mean, the Bhagavad Gita is on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I'm trying to figure out how are these 2 things connected? And Prabhupada says that they're connected because they're meant to elevate people to the mode of goodness. The 10 commandments and or I like that. Okay, so I'm getting texts from different people. So the 10 commandments are there and the regulative principles are there. Each and every religious scripture has a do's and do nots. The do's and do nots have to be there to keep us in order. Just like at the end of the 16th chapter, it explains that one should follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures in order to come to the platform. In other words, without having some kind of guideline, we're definitely going to deviate. Now, it's very difficult to practice spiritual life. In the 8th chapter, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that one who chants Hare Krishna will meet so many obstacles, but nevertheless, one should tolerate. Tam Satikshas Bharata. What is that? 3rd verse of the Shikshastika. Trinadapi Sunechana Toradapi Sahishtuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. That one has to be feel himself lower than the blade of grass and more tolerant than the tree. And Amanina Manadena, ready to offer all respects to every living entity and not expect anything special for themselves. And then Kirtaniya Sadahari. Then one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. The goal is constant absorption in the holy name of the Lord. The goal is constant remembrance of Krishna. I think it was recently I was giving a talk, may have been to this group because I've been Zooming a lot. And this remembrance of Krishna is described in the 8th chapter of the Gita. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam jagyatyante kalevaram. Yam yam vapi smaram, this smaram, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport there that this smaram, this remembrance of Krishna, is not possible for the impure soul. Therefore, purification, the soul is never impure, the soul is only covered. We need to uncover our original spiritual, what would you say, relationship with Krishna. My vangso jiva loka jiva bhusa. We're eternal parts and parcels of Krishna. That we cannot change. What we do is we just separate ourselves from Krishna. Prabhupada gives the example, the son that has a very, very, what would you say, wealthy or prosperous father, but he leaves the father. But once again, if he ever turns his face back to the father will accept him immediately. If there is some disagreement and the son humbly approach, just like we are meant to humbly approach, Shinada peace in nature now, we're meant to humbly approach the Supreme Lord through the process of Nam Kirtan, the chanting of the holy name, and the engagement of Archana, the regulated services in the temple that we perform. And it doesn't just mean any like, official ISKCON temple, even our own home temples. Everyone should have our own home temple where they can offer their foods. Patam pusham palatoyam. That if you offer to me with love, devotion, I will accept a leaf, water, flower, water. These things will be accepted by Krishna. And it's not that Krishna needs them. We need Krishna. That is the difficulty. I remember one time I was listening to a lecture. Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna does not need your halava. He has so much better halava where he is, you know. But we need to offer our halava to Krishna. Because if without offering, then we're a thief. Simply a thief. How can you, and Srila Prabhupada gives an example, how can it, you cannot be happy. You cannot be happy if you're a thief. Anyone, I don't know if anybody's ever pinched anything. What, you know, pinched means not pinched. I mean, stolen something. What do you call it? 5-finger discount. Maybe if it's a small item, 3 or 4-finger discount. As soon as you do, I remember one time I was with my friend. It was called Ben Franklin's nickel and dime store. So they had all this candy, and I just pretended. We didn't even plan to do. I just pretended. Hey, what if we stole one of these things and stuck it in our pocket? I was just pretending, and immediately the store clerk saw me do it. Immediately the store, and I thought, oh my God, I told him, I said, dude, I didn't say dude, but I said, like, I wasn't stealing it. It's just like anybody that sticks something in their pocket without paying it is not stealing it, right? It's like when I went to jail one time for selling books and got picked up and put in jail. And I got in jail and all the criminals were in there. And they said, what'd you do? And I said, I'm innocent. I was just selling religious books. Yeah, we're innocent too. Everybody in the jailhouse was innocent. I thought I was the only one that was innocent. Everybody in the jailhouse was innocent. And so as soon as you pick something up that doesn't belong to you and you utilize it or you take it without proper remuneration or proper, what would you say, permission, then you're a thief. And as soon as you have that, you cannot be comfortable. A thief cannot be comfortable. And thieves they even have a thief code. Prabhupada would say that the thieves, there's a group of thieves, they rob, they what do you call it, plunder someplace, they rob someplace, and then they say, they go back to the hideout and they say, okay, now let's divide it up honestly. Did you catch that, Your Honor? Is it possible for them to divide it up honestly, Your Honor? Why? You can unmute yourself. Why can't they divide it up honestly? Sridhar? Abhishek is having difficulty. His Honor is having difficulty. Oh, Your Honor, you unmuted yourself.
I unmuted myself. Because they're thieves, right? They're probably going to try to steal from each other.
Maybe
Nice
not.
try.
They have some ethics towards each other's profession. Some
Ethics
respect.
towards each other's profession. No. Why can't they divide it up honestly? Sridhar, give it a try.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Because they didn't practice honesty.
They didn't practice honesty. How can you honestly divide something that you stole? It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. You cannot honestly distribute something that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the people that they stole it from. You cannot honestly distribute it. Yes, they get together in the hideout. Yes, now we'll distribute that which we stole honestly. Very, very close, Abhishek. Very, very close. Everyone was very, very close. Very, very impressed with the group, paying attention. That was just the first sentence. Huh? See how powerful Prabhupada's books are. If you read these books, you gain knowledge. But if you just look at the book from the outside, Sridhar, may I ask you a question? I can't say can because I can, but may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. Can you taste honey by licking the outside of the jar? Can you taste it just by looking at the jar or touching the outside of the jar? Can you taste the honey?
No, but I can remember the taste in my mind.
You can remember, yeah, you have a good memory. That's good. You can remember tasting honey. But if you want to taste, if you want to understand it, you have to open up and you have to taste the honey. So in the same way, if you want to understand spiritual life, you must open up the information that's being given. We're going to cross over many, many, what would you say, challenges. People don't like to hear the word difficulty anymore. They don't like to hear the word, these words are too hard for people to understand now. I'm challenged, they're very difficult. And there's so many difficulties in this world we have to face daily. Daily, we're challenged. The illusory energy is the stringent laws of material nature. Stringent. Munch, can you Google on your phone, Siri on your phone, the word stringent, and then give us a definition? The stringent laws of material nature, they don't bend. Just like a child turns on the burner on the stove and touches the burner, that touches the flame on the stove doesn't say, oh, it's a little kid, I'm not going to burn it. It doesn't say that. The stringent laws of material nature are so strong that it doesn't matter who you are. You can be an innocent kid, quote unquote, innocent child, or you can be a guilty person. The stringent laws of material nature deal with each and every one of us in a particular way.
Strict,
stringent,
precise, and exacting.
Yeah, strict, precise, and exactly. You can't avoid. We can make what do Prabhupada call it? Planning commission. They're plan making commission. They can pass so many different things. Oh, we're going to do this. You cannot go beyond. You cannot go beyond. Struggle for millennia. Nothing changed. I think did I tell this group last time about J.P. Getty? Was that last time I told you about J.P. Getty? Vishnu Tran, I didn't tell you about J.P. Getty. Vishnu Tran will remember.
Yes, Maharaj, you did.
Oh.
Did I tell you, Nitai?
Yes, Maharaj.
Maybe
he was the richest man in the world in the 20s or 30s.
No one else remembers.
Sorry?
Maybe you should tell it again because a few of us were shaking our head no.
Yeah. So J.P. Getty back in, I think it was the 20s or 30s, the richest man in the world. And somebody interviewed him and said, what is your philosophy? He said, more. Richest man in the world, he wants more. And I told this story last time, right? And they said, what do you think about when you're all alone? How to pay the bills. Sound familiar to anybody? Huh? Anybody have that thing? Anybody want something more that you don't have? You see something, you think of, oh, that'd be good. I'd be happy if I got that. And then when you get something, all you can think about, how am I going to pay for it? How am I going to do it? This is the nature of material world. We cannot avoid. So again, the yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute or execute the practice without deviation. Very, very strong order, first thing off the bat. One should be sure of success. Now here's a nice thing at the end, and pursue this course with great perseverance and not becoming discouraged if there's any delay in the attainment of success. This is the patient part. In other words, there's success built into the process of Krishna consciousness. Eventually, we actually achieve the proper, what would you say, not proper, but the ultimate goal of understanding our eternal relationship with Krishna. Prabhupada says here, one should be sure, no doubt, doubtless, the doubtless ways. The other day I was giving some class somewhere and we came across this this word. Oh yeah, it's in the oh, I see. I was looking at the page number. I said, I'm not on verse 262. It was a page. The idea is that one can actually achieve a doubtless state. In other words, we actually have realization of our eternal relationship with Krishna, so much so that we are free of doubt and fear. Everyone, they don't have any understanding of what's to come. We have understanding. We may not know minute by minute or step by step, But we do know the nature of this world. Dukalayam Shashvatam. We know the nature of this material world. And we are prepared. Through the process of transcendental knowledge, we are prepared to, what would you say, not endeavor, the word is to overcome any difficulty, to overcome the difficulties that life gives us, because we are associated with Guru, Shastra, and Sastra. We have this protective layer. So as described here, we should understand that success is guaranteed at the end and pursue this court with great perseverance. In other words, that means that the tide of material energy is going up and going down. And because we're also part of this material energy, and we may be striving for spiritual, what would you say, progress, but because it's still in the material energy, we're going to have ups and downs. But we should pursue this course with great perseverance, knowing that there's going to be ups and downs, knowing that there's going to be challenges, knowing that there's going to be failures. I saw one preacher saying that if we cannot succeed without failure. Failure is inevitable. They're going to fail so many times. Failure is going to be there. So many failures are going to be there, but they build upon us a good character. Our part of it is just to actually how we're going to respond, how we respond to these things. When we respond with knowledge, true knowledge, not this thing that changes every other day. This is that, that is this, so many different things in the material level, but true spiritual knowledge. Then we can persevere and become, what was just Prabhupada says here, not becoming discouraged if there's any delay in the attainment. This is the next verse we're going to go. Shanai, Shanai, gradually, step by step, once you be situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction. Again, pursue this course with great perseverance. The mind should be fixed on the self alone and think of nothing else. So I mean, we're only on the third or fourth sentence of this purport. So success is guaranteed now for the rigid practitioner. Now, what does rigid mean? Manj, can you look that up for me on your Siri again? So rigid practitioner, because is that okay, Manj? Am I calling you for these little things? Okay. And so the idea, rigid practitioner, we have our regulated principles. Srila Prabhupada said, this is enough austerity. You follow the 4 regulated principles, you chant your 16 rounds, you engage in the devotional service of the Lord. And this is rigid practicing of Krishna consciousness. Also, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Prabhupada says that one should follow the rules and regulations. And this also includes the sadhana part. In other words, again, as I was saying to Sridhar, that one cannot actually taste the honey without opening the jar. You cannot taste it. You cannot understand. You just by looking at the outside of the book, of course, just by reading Bhagavad Gita, you're going to make advancement. But when you go inside, the knowledge that's contained within there can rescue you from the most dangerous type of fear. Mind, what's rigid?
Rigid practitioner, Raj? It is someone who has great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is assured for the rigid practitioner.
Yeah, but what is the word rigid? Let's Google rigid or Siri rigid.
Unable to bend or be forced out of shape, not flexible, or not able to be changed or adapted.
Yes. In other words, see, we have this adaptation. In other words, we're originally Krishna conscious. That is our original position. Now we have adopted a different process, a different set of consciousness. Now we have to go back into our original consciousness. And to do that, we have to have a strong determination and an ability to stay within the perimeters that are allowed to us according to our varna and ashram to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. And this is our rigid practitioner to gain. So regarding this, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, there's a nice verse, Utsahandistayardarya tat karma pravartanat sangat jagat satto gate sabir bhaktir prasidati. that one can execute the process of bhakti yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, determination, by following the prescribed rules and regulations of the association of devotees, engaging completely in the activities of goodness. In the nectar of devotion, this idea of engaging in the activities of the mode of goodness and in the Bhagavad Gita is essential. Anybody have any idea why we should engage in the mode of goodness? Why should we avoid the modes of passion? Why should we avoid the mode of ignorance? What is the value? Somebody answer me. Somebody please step in and say, what is the value of the mode of goodness? Why is it stressing throughout the nectar instruction, throughout the Bhagavad Gita? If you read the Bhagavad Gita, it will repeatedly instruct us, live in the mode of goodness. And as I was saying before, that the four regulative principles are to allow us to be in the mode of goodness. The 10 commandments are to allow people to be in the mode of goodness. Does anybody have an idea why we should be engaged in what is the value of being situated in the mode of goodness? What is the ultimate benefit of that?
Become calm and peaceful, otherwise nothing can be achieved. If the mind is distracted and disturbed, nothing can be done.
Yes, nothing can be done. So if the mind is peaceful and calm, what does it allow us to do?
So that's mode of goodness will allow to focus on the subject matter which one puts the goal of.
Yes, that is a goal. Very good. Mahatma Singh. Okay, I can know the letters are really, really profound.
His name is Maharaj's name is Madhav Das.
Madhav Das, yeah.
He's
So
from
the
North
idea
Carolina.
is from the mode of goodness. If one is situated in the mode of goodness, then one has the ability to understand transcendental knowledge. This is the real benefit of the mode of good, living in the mode of goodness, eating in the mode of goodness, working in the mode, and everything, the charity, austerity, all these things were described in the 17th chapter, and it was questioned: should acts of charity, penance, and what is it? Charity, penance, and austerities be engaged? In the 18th chapter, it's questioned, and Krishna says yes, that these things purify even the great souls. That's why we want to be situated in this mode of goodness, regulated in life. 14th chapter, everything mode of goodness. 18th chapter, everything is described: goodness, passion, ignorance. 14th chapter, ignorance, passion, and goodness. All these different chapters, they have all these. They give different understandings of where the mode of goodness is. What is the mode of passion? What is the mode of ignorance? So that we can identify when we're in that mode. When the mind is in anger, passion, or ignorance, we cannot discriminate. The intelligence becomes lost when one is in the mode of passion. The Gita explains that the mode of passion creates grief. It creates all you get is disturbed by the mode of passion. Mode of ignorance, you're just like a blob. It's like a blob life. No ability to even, practically speaking, subhuman. Practically, to be honest, subhuman. 400,000 different species of human life. You live in the mode of ignorance. I told you that story about my friend that when I was in college. I told you this years ago. He realized that the only time he was suffering was when he was awake. So he painted his room completely black. Walls, floors, ceiling, got black sheets, black bed, everything black. And his goal was to sleep. He started sleeping up 14, 15, 16, 17. Next thing you know, the guy was cuckoo. Completely, because so much mode of ignorance, sleeping so much. So when we situate ourselves in the mode of goodness, from the mode of goodness, enlightenment comes. All the gates of the body become enlightened. In other words, everything that enters in, all the knowledge acquiring senses, all the working senses, grouped about the mind, all the sense objects, then become transfer. In other words, we see them in a particular way by which they can be utilized in the service of Krishna. Now we see them only as objects for our sense gratification, based on the mode of passion and ignorance. Very good. I forgot what you said his new name was in the Tagore Sundar.
Madhav Das.
Madhava Das. Madhava. Okay,
He's a-
thank you. Hare Krishna, Madhava Das.
Gopal
So,
Krishna Maharaj disciple.
What's that?
He's Gopal Krishna Maharaj disciple.
Oh, okay.
Lives in North Carolina.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj is a good friend of mine. Not good friend. Good friend.
Father of Amit. You met Amit here.
Sorry?
Isn't that is Amit, Dr. Amit Singh? You met him here.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll continue with the purport here a little bit. Oh, we've already gotten to 40 minutes. Now here's now we get the example. As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to turn the eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water with her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate towards his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus, Garuda at once asked the ocean to return the eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this, and it returned the eggs. Thus, the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Now, the nice part of the purport of that story is similarly, by the practice of yoga, especially bhakti yoga in Krishna consciousness, it may appear to be a very difficult job. Anybody find the process of Krishna consciousness with what is it described here? Without deviation, without the temptations and the material energy, without the glitter of material. What do you call it? The glitter of the. What do they call the word I learned? Phantasmagoria. I learned that in the Hare Krishna movement. You know, the phantasmagoria, the glittering lights, the glowworms compared to the sunshine in the material world here. We all experience that. It's a very difficult job, but if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves. In other words, that success is built in if we just take on the process and honestly. Many times I'll say that find out where we're actually situated in our spiritual practice. Go into the depth of the heart, see where we're at. See where we really want to get to. Are we satisfied with just partial advancement? Are we satisfied with very, very slow advancement? Of course, Shanai, gradually, step by step, these things can gradually be reduced. But the idea is to always be making steps forward. Of course, if there'll be, would you say, stumbling blocks along the way. That is to be expected. Stumbling blocks are to be expected. If you don't have any stumbling blocks, actually one Prabhupada says that there's, if we're not getting any, what would you say, repercussions, then we're not pushing hard enough. The harder we push, the more Maya is going to, insist that we remain under her control. But if we're determined to remain steadfast in our relationship to the Supreme Lord and the practices of Krishna consciousness, gradually they become easier. I was reading in one purport, and I brought it up to Guru, His Holiness Guru Maharaj the other day, that it states in the Bhagavad Gita that when one accepts a spiritual master, the regulated principles become much easier to follow because of that commitment one makes, that linking, when one links themselves to the spiritual process through the disciplic succession. These regulated principles, these do's and do nots, become more and more, what would you say, easily to follow. In other words, because we want to please the person that we have accepted this responsibility from. We never want to displease. So the process of Krishna consciousness is very, very open. It's very, very, what would you say? It's not stagnant. It's very dynamic. We're meant to be in a dynamic situation here whereby we can see that enthusiasm on a daily basis. If we just ho-hum do things, even at your occupation, I'm looking through the group here, most people have an occupation. And even if you're in our occupation, we ho-hum do our work, we're going to get a ho-hum result. We may not even keep the job. You may be, what do you say? Your services are no longer necessary here. I think I have a few friends that have received that message a few times. Your services are no longer needed here, even though the person is actually quite qualified. And so this is the nature. So we have that determined, utsahanistayarya, tatat kama, enthusiasm, determination, and patience. There has to be these things combined together, give us the key to entering into the process of devotional service. So we went through one verse. I thought I was going to do 3 or 4, but I just got caught in the purport. Very nice purport. The first verse, the first sentence of the purport, so powerful.
So we'll keep on inviting you, Maharaj, and need to keep on coming back.
Any question?
Maharaj,
From the esteemed group.
historical things, Maharaj.
Sorry?
I have the 2 historical things. Today was the Back to Godhead was restarted and published first time in America.
Oh, that's nice.
October
Yeah,
23, 1966. Here, Gargamuni Prabhu wrote Prabhupada's writing in the journal in his handwriting. Back to Godhead, republished again.
Nice.
Second historical thing was 5-finger discount. That's how the Rath Yatra started.
Yeah. So any questions from the esteemed Vaishnavas?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad. This is Ram Giridhari here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your wonderful.
Maharaj, he is from Navi Mumbai. He is a stalwart devotee from India who comes to Houston. You might have seen him, Maharaj.
Yeah, I've heard Maharaj quite a lot of classes in Houston.
Oh, okay.
I just had because it's very interesting that you picked up this verse, because currently we are doing this reading every day morning on the every day we are discussing from a book, The Perfection of Yoga. So the current context that we were in, the chapter 6 is talking about this particular set of verses where Srila Prabhupada talks about failed attempts of an yogi. What happens to a yogi whose attempts are failed.
Yeah, that's later on in the chapter.
Yeah,
yes.
just a couple of shlokas later. So my question is that sometimes, this might be a stupid question, but then still I'll still ask that.
No stupid question. The only foolish question, the one that's not asked. Who said that? Socrates?
Yeah, so sometimes the determination, we may not be able to draw a line between determination versus stupidity, because the person may be, going on working or, being kind of extra confident that I may be able to make it, whilst he is actually sinking. He might need to take help. He might need to go out of the way to, take somebody else's help. Otherwise, he would collapse. And the subset of the question is that even the materialist is saying the same example. Be determined, you will be happy. Scientists are saying, be determined, you will get the result. So I just was thinking that but whilst Prabhupada is insisting here on determination and patience, so I'm just asking is, should that not be that it should be with some, some principle driven and some support to be taken to cross check if I'm in the right path or not. Otherwise, just sometimes people oriented towards determination may get slipped somewhere else in the path. Just some thoughts from you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Because the verse is utsahanistayar daryat. The enthusiasm, determination, and then patience. That determination without patience. You see, in other words, that determination without patience as you say, well, is it determination or stupidity? I've been banned from using the word stupid by my counselor, one of my devotee friends. And so, because the idea is that the Vacha Vegam, Manasakrita Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Uttara Pasta Vegam, we follow these four regulative principles. And then there's Atyahara Paraschascha Praljapo Niyamagraha. So we have these different verses that are given in these scriptures. Those three verses are pertinent to that book. And so Niyamagraha means following the rules and regulations only for the sake of following the rules and regulations, and by that, and being very determined in that, but only for the sake of the rules and regulations, not understanding the ultimate goal of those rules and regulations is to elevate oneself to the mode of goodness, and not to be just a person with blinders on, not being able to see the forest because of the trees, or the trees because of the forest, or however that one's supposed to go. And the idea is that, or just acting whimsically and thinking that I'm able to advance on a whimsical level. And so the patience part is very important to go along with that determination. Because what'll happen is that, my thought, and I've read this book a million times, not a million times, but we say a million just to say a lot of times. And so that utsahan nishtadharyat daryat, that patience is so much necessary, because if we are enthusiastically performing something and we have the determination to practice the rules and regulations as they're meant to be practiced, and we don't see some result, we may become discouraged. And when one becomes discouraged, they slacken their, what would you say, practices. They slacken their practices, whereby it literally takes 2 minutes to make an offering. But if you don't take that 2 minutes, you say, well, really don't, so you slacken something because of a lack of encouragement. So that patience is very, very necessary. And so the example given here is actually wonderful. The sparrow was so determined and patient. I mean, can a sparrow drain the ocean? And so the patience is necessary for the determination. I'm just a little confused though, how you say, are we determined or are we stupid? I just want to I'd like you to unpack that a little bit so I can understand why one was be either determined or stupid.
I was trying to come from the point that even the materialists say the same thing. If you go to scientists, if you go to so-called materialistic people, they'll say, be determined, you'll get success. Be patient, you'll get the result. So they base their own argument, their own life, or even whatever motivational speech that they would give to their own buddies is also on the same point, where be determined and patient, but they do not have any clear-cut goal or principles in their life. And
Yes.
also they do not have a mechanism to cross-check, or they do not have a benchmark to assess if they are on the right path. So my question, or the point that I was trying to drive, is that sometimes when you are determined and patient but not sure to cross-check if you are progressing, then probably we will be doing something else, something looks like a Krishna conscious but not actually Krishna conscious.
Yes.
So that's where I'm coming from.
So we do have cross-check. And the thing is, I think I may have told this story to this group before in Nashville. I was distributing books one time. I think it was the Florida Welcome Center. And I met a man, their license plate. Nice to see you. What part of Michigan are you from? How do you know I was from Michigan? I mean, the license plate's on the back of the car, it's just like Krishna made so many arrangements for us just to And a lot of them had the counties listed, so we could just guess the name of the town they're from, you know. And so this person worked, he said he worked in quality control. And I said, well, that's great, you know. I said, that's good. We're meant to control the, you know, it's great to have quality control. He said, young man, he was like in his 50s and I was like 20 years old out in the streets of book bag. He said, you don't really understand what quality control means. Quality control means we control the quality. We control the quality. It's not that we're making a quality product, we're controlling the quality. I said, what do you mean? He says, we make it so it works long enough that we don't have to do any repair work when it's under warranty. We control the quality so that after the warranty is over, it breaks down just a little bit. So you have to send it to us. So we have to repair it and charge you more money. Then we control the quality. So at a certain point, it either becomes obsolete. We may already have a new product that's ready to go, but we don't release it until we know that yours is broken and you have to buy the new product, or you have to replace that same product with another product. So we're controlling the quality, right? So I'm trying to remember with your question why I brought that story up, but I know there's a purport behind it. So the idea is that, like you said, the materialists, they don't have an ultimate goal or purpose that has value. In other words, our goals and purposes in life, they change according to our body. You know, like a young man may want to enter education, or a young lady or a person may want to education so that they can advance their education so they can get a better job. Or they get a better job, they want to get a promotion, they want to get a promotion so they make more money, they want to make more money so they can get a better. These things are always in flux, they're always shifting. So Prabhupada, I think it's in the 10th chapter, 10th verse, where he says, everyone is in want of an ultimate goal. But they don't know that the ultimate goal is Krishna. Therefore, their goals are always changing. And therefore, the determination, I see what happens is they achieve a little something, then they get something for, you know, you get your diploma. Okay, now I can maybe get into graduate school. Then I get that. Maybe I can get a better job. Maybe I get into employment. Now I can maybe get an advancement. So they're always seeing some kind of progress in that way by their effort. But what is the result of that effort? Because nasato vijite bhavo na bhavo vijite sataha, that which is material is temporary, and that which is spiritual is eternal. So there's a want of a real ultimate goal. So Prabhupada explains that the ultimate goal is Krishna, and once that goal is set, then one can progressively make progress. Is that a word? Can make progressively make progress? I think it's the same word we're using twice. One can progress, you know, slowly progress to that ultimate goal of Krishna. So as far as having a checks and balances, all you have to do is read the 13th chapter, verses 8 through 12. Humility, tolerance, pridelessness. I can't remember them all in order. There's 20 different qualifications there, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says one can gauge one's advancement by seeing how they're what would you say, assimilating or these qualities are manifesting within oneself. And not only so that, of course, Yashashya Bhakti, what is that verse where, you know, all the good, one who engages in devotional service, all the good qualities manifest. But at the same time, because these 20 items are considered to be knowledge. So that's the beginning of the Gyan section of the Gita. The 13th through 18th chapters are the Gyan section of the Yoga. 7 through 12 are the Bhakti section of the Gita. So when we get into the Gyan section, Prabhupada is explaining that this is knowledge, and anything besides these 20 is ignorance. And so when we can judge that. So if we take a look at these different 20 items, and then what we do is, if we know what they are and know what they mean, then we can begin to practice on that level, and at the same time chant Hare Krishna. In other words, we can practice tolerance. We can practice to be tolerant, and at the same time chant Hare Krishna, and the purification of the heart will enable us to become tolerant. So we can have that double, what would you say, bonus, you know, that double bonus of knowing what what these things truly are and how we can actually gain on a rapid level the progress that is given through the study of the Gita. So we have our checks and balances. They have their checks and balances. Their checks and balances is he who dies with the most toys wins. And what does it mean? It's like that same guy in the taxi cab when I was going to the temple in Sao Paulo, telling me that all the millionaires are buried in this. You'll be happy to know this is where all the millionaires are buried. Okay. My grandpa's buried in that graveyard. I'm such a great person. My father's going to be buried in that graveyard. He's such a great person. And I will also be buried in that graveyard. I'm such a great person. So what are you? You're just down. You're just dead body in the ground. There's a nice verse, nice purport in the 3rd chapter of the Gita. I quote this one a lot just because it's kind of hardcore. We like hardcore stuff. I think it's like 5, 6. Oh, number 5. So Prabhupada explains. So everyone, the verse is, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, we cannot refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So the idea is, Prabhupada says, it's not a question of embodied life. It's not a question of embodied life, but it's the nature of the soul to be always active. So Prabhupada said we're even active mentally when we're sleeping. We're always active. And so this is the part I like. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. So this body is it's like a dead vehicle. In other words, without the presence of the soul, there's no life in this body. It just appears to be alive and animated because of the presence of the soul. Just like in my fan control here and my light control, the battery's inside. Without the battery inside, this thing it doesn't do anything. But because the battery's in here, I can turn the fan on, turn the fan off, turn the light on, turn the light off. And the same way, the soul residing within the body is the source of life for this body. And a nice verse in the 13th chapter. Sheta Sheta Tata Krishna Prakashayati Bharata. Sheta, what is that verse? I can remember the 3rd line. I can't remember the 4th line. And the 1st line. It's like towards the very, very end. We'll get to the 4th. Yata Prakashya Eka. There we go. Yata Prakashya Eka. 1. Yata Prakashya Eka. Krishna Lokamadam Ravai Shetra Sheta Tata Krishna Prakashayati Bharata. Just as the sun alone illuminates this world with light, so the soul illumines the body with consciousness. It's kind of off the topic, but it's on topic, but off topic. It's just expanding the topic. And so the idea that we have the ability to have a fixed goal, a goal that actually has value, spiritual value, because things that are material have no value. No matter what we accumulate in this material world is taken away. So real progress and the real purpose and the real goal. Purpose and goal are 2 different things. You can look them up maybe sometime, go through that one. Just like one time I did faith and mercy. It's a really interesting thing how faith and mercy work together. Mercy and grace. Mercy and grace. Mercy means that I have the ability to cause you harm, but I'm giving you the mercy. I'm not going to harm you. But grace is just freely given. If you become conscious of me, you can cross over all material obstacles by my grace. It's something that's given freely. Mercy means that, sometimes the Prabhupada uses the word mercy and sometimes grace. And I just said, why is it this way one time and why is it this way another time? So I wanted to understand the different meaning of that, of those different terminologies. And so in the same way, you're right, 100%. motivational speakers say, if you just stick to it, if you just stick to it, if you don't want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, do it. And when you do it, you'll feel good. You'll feel like you've accomplished something. And when you accomplish one, you'll accomplish two. And when you accomplish two, you'll accomplish three. It's the same thing for spiritual life. The only difference is nehabi kamanasto sti pratyavayo nivijate sapamapya shadharma shatayate mahato bhayat. That in this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one, can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear, of re-entering into the material atmosphere. We can't, if we make $1 billion in this lifetime, RT Swami makes $1 billion. I found the lottery ticket on the ground or something, and I won't buy one. I figure if I have the karma to win, I'm going to find it on the ground, right? And so the idea, I get $1 billion next lifetime, I go to the bank and say, yeah, I'm RT Swami, I'd like to make a withdrawal. Yeah, right, you're RT Swami and you got $1 billion in the bank. Let me see what your ID says this time. It ain't going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. So in the devotional, I guess you could say determination on that level is foolish. Wait. What was that? Nitai Gaursundia, maybe you can help me with this one. When Prabhupada was in the garden in Los Angeles, and some total of all stupidity. He gave that lecture to Dr. Stilson Judah and that other doctor were there, and they were commenting, and somebody was saying maybe you could use a different word. And then Prabhupada said, yes, stupidity is a sum total of all, foolishness is a sum total of all stupidity or something. I mean, we have so many classic statements that we can use in our efforts to purify ourselves and assist others in the escape of this material confinement.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah. Did it get through? Did it work?
Yes, definitely. I mean, there are a lot more we can discuss on this, but due to time constraint, probably next time we'll take this up from there. Sure. I had a few more points on this particular topic because we see when we are, in the congregation cultivation and when we do personal introspection, somewhere we fail to do a check and balance if I am making a progress and just get an external satisfaction that I'm in a devotee association. So somewhere down the line, sure, Krishna consciousness works on us, but then if we do not do the check and balance on a regular basis, sometimes we may be wasting time somewhere. So probably we can take it up in the next session whenever you come. So it's a very important topic because even terrorists teach their own students about determination and patience.
Yes.
I mean, their whole principle is on that. And they also talk about goal. They also talk about so many philosophical things. Of course, it's all aberrated. But then what I was trying to say is that as practitioners, we need to be, exactly nitpicky to know that I'm determined and patient so that I will get Krishna and I should walk that path. So if I am somewhere lost on that goal, then I may, it's like, that's when I realize that bhakti is walking on a razor's edge. If you do not know to exactly differentiate, sometimes you may be doing something stupid. I'm sorry to use that word. I mean, foolish, whatever you may say.
Thank you, Maharaj. As Maharaj says, Neha Bikram Nasusti. Whatever yes. We do, there will be no loss, elimination in this process. We took whatever, but your goal is very high, but for us, it is whatever we can do, what association we can get. We may not get that determination that going back to home, back to Godhead, but as long as we get devotee association, that's good. That's what Maharaj has said. That concluded.
No, thank you. And I fully appreciate, and that's my hope too. I'm not having very high hope, but when I was reflecting on the word that Srila Prabhupada said about fall down on slippage from the process of yoga. So
fall down from practice of yoga.
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada. That's the word Prabhupada uses in that chapter 6. Slippage, or slip away or fall down from practicing the process of yoga. You may still not have any loss. So I was contemplating on this point that definitely at the ultimate side, there is no loss. But the opportunity that I'm having now, if I'm not careful enough, then I lose time, and I'm definitely, missing a very rarest opportunity. So
yeah, the opportunity is there. But another thing is that we have this, what would you say, checks and balances. We'll say that 8 through 12 verses of the 13th chapter. We have checks and balances. It's just like we have Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We have the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the government to keep everything in balance, hopefully. At the same time, one should be very, very careful to not only judge oneself by rules and regulations, because that's why I was mentioning that we have to enter into the core of our heart and see where we're actually situated at spiritually. Externally, we may be able to follow some rules and regulations very, very rigidly, but if the heart isn't softened, because sometimes rules and regulations can harden the heart. And so if the heart doesn't become softened, then one will judge themselves and think themselves to be advanced because of the rules and regulations, which in one sense is sahaja. And in another sense, one will judge other people based on rules and regulation, and that is impersonalism. And so we want to avoid impersonalism and we want to avoid sahajiism, because these are the two offshoots to, what would you say, only judging oneself by externals. I'm very good. I sit down properly. I chant the mantra, each word very carefully. I put on my tilak very nicely. I have always, proper dress. I do like this. I do like that. But if it's simply an external effort, although that external effort also in Krishna consciousness gives an eternal benefit. In other words, that we are going to make advancement. I always don't want to use the singular, I want to use a plural. We're all making spiritual advancement through this practice. But we always have to be careful of that. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said of all the things the devotee should be very, very careful of fame. In other words, and we'll think that because I am practicing so pakka, very, 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 what would you say, expertly functioning according to the rules and regulations, we'll think that I have a greater value than someone who doesn't have. But we don't see, the thing is that let's just say like rising early may be easy for one person and difficult for another person, but that person who finds it difficult is actually making more advancement than the person who finds it easy. And we may judge, oh, this person has such a difficulty getting up in the morning, he must be very fallen. But if we have that mentality, so we have to be very, very careful of sadhaninda. We have to be very, very careful not to make Vaishnava aparad, because that is a tendency that one will fall into if one only judges things on an external level, and place oneself in a position mentally or intellectually or whatever level based on simply rules and regulations. And whatever standard one may have developed within their reading and stuff like that, and then it's literally it's not the sahaja level where one is putting on his asari and dancing, pretending like he's dancing with the gopis, but it's a type of sahajism where one places himself in a higher position than one actually in. I heard a very nice lecture by this very, very powerful, he's actually a motivational speaker also, but African-American pastor for, what's the name of that? It's here in Dallas. I don't think they're able to have thousands of people placed. T.D. Jake, big, huge guy, big, huge African-American guy. And he warns that if your apostolic position in the church becomes greater than your level of humility and understanding, you're going to be in deep trouble. So it's like getting a greater, in other words, achieving a greater position on, say, even in a spiritual organization that's greater than your level of humility and realization. in other words, which can, not always, but can create a sense of false pride. And we all know pride comes before the fall. And so he warns his congregation and his bishops and stuff like that. Make sure you are grounded in your heart, understanding where my heart really is. We don't really want to go there. Actually, the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam says, just visit that place, just visit it a little bit. Because if we go into the depth of the heart and find out, our true sinful nature, the depth of our sinful, the sins that we have committed in this lifetime, and even reflect on them a little bit, we may become attracted to them again. And so but at the same time, we need to visit it to understand where our base level is so that we have a place to build upon. In other words, if our base level is 1, but we are considering ourselves to be at 5, we're building on a false foundation. And that false foundation between 1 and 5 will crumble, and then the whole structure comes down. So there's a necessity for us to evaluate, as you're saying, evaluate our situation. And that can be done through those 20 different aspects of knowledge in the Gita, or there's so many different, what would you say, categories or different places in the Bhagavatam and the Gita that explain, what are actual nature. There's so many, like the Chaitanya. I mean, you just study Srila Prabhupada's books. It's an ocean of information, literally an ocean of information. And we can actually guard against these subtle fall downs, because they lead to Vaishnava aparad, they lead to Guru aparad, and these are considered to be like a mad elephant in a garden. And so these things are very, very important for us to understand. Not to get into this, not the gopi dance, putting on the sari, but this type of sahajism and this type of impersonalism that can manifest through the rigid practices of the regulations. In other words, we don't want to deviate from the regulations, but we don't want to make just the rules and regulations. We want to develop love of Krishna. That's what the whole things are for. They're just to raise us up to the proper platform. It's a very interesting topic you brought up. Very, very interesting.
Maharaj, can you give me a definition of sahaja and impersonalism again?
If we judge ourselves, in other words, if we put our tilak on very, very nicely, and we judge paka, and we ring the bell a certain way, and we throw the incense, 3 times at the feet and 2 times in the tummy and 1 time on whatever, all these rules and regulations. And because of that, we think we're actually very, very advanced simply by practicing these things. We place ourselves in a position that's above our level of realization. And because of that, it's like a sense, it's like the sahajas, they think that they're able to dance with the gopis and they can embrace, so they go around embracing everybody's wives. Not that just because you ring the bell properly, you're going to go embracing people's wives, but that's an extreme sense of sahajism. But to have oneself, or to think oneself more advanced than one actually is, simply because they're practicing a certain set of rules and regulations and neglecting their actual spiritual position that they're in. It's a type of sahajism. And a type of impersonalism is that because I am doing like this, everyone should be doing like this, and categorizing everybody only because of rules and regulations, not understanding that every single person is an individual and has an individual relationship with Krishna and is advancing according to their ability and according to their, what would you say, not ability, but according to their, I guess you could say, according to the way they're practicing Krishna consciousness, they're going to advance at a certain level. And you can't have projection. You can't project your level of advancement based on this I want to call it artificial, but this rules and regulation things that sets you up higher than you are, and then judge other people from that. That's the sense that's very impersonal. That's only based around oneself. It's not based on an individual. It's not personalism. It's just like some people, it's very, very easy. Like for me, to honor prasadam is very, very easy. I have no problem honoring prasadam.
Very simple.
But the idea, you can see the difference there. It's very, very clear. the meaning of this is that we really, as Rama Giridhari Prabhu was, is that your name? Rama Giridhari Prabhu was explaining that we need to always be doing checks and balances, but not just according to the rules and regulations, according to the level where our heart is actually reciprocating, where our heart is really resonating, where our heart is really opening, able to open to Krishna and build upon that. And without building upon that level, again, that structure is going to be missing a floor. And as soon as you start the second floor before you get the first floor done.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj Dandavat Pranam. Can I share one little statement? Yeah.
Please.
So I was listening few days back to Bir Krishna Maharaj here in Hillsborough, and he made very interesting comment, and I really love that comment. What he said that, yes, there should be some basic rule, fundamental for us to follow. Various books and instruction, rituals, all these things are there. We should know, have some knowledge to follow. But then he gave his personal example that when he was learning the deity worship, and then what happened when he started, and he forgot about how many times one has to wave a lamp or incense. He said he got lost about the mission, the goal of the very worship of the deity. So it should be really, that should be the focus, not how many times you are waving the lamp or incense or fan. Yes, those processes, basics should be there, but how many times you get in counting, you can get lost. So don't worry about that. The goal is to do it. Fan, lamp, incense, flower, all these things with love. You want to show the love to the deities, to their lotus feet, not simply get involved into counting how many times you are waving a given process. I just wanted to share, when you were talking about all these rituals and different people, the heart, that the key goal is important, not that so many technicality, because everybody has different level, because some devotee may be a very pakka pujari, the devote, and he offers exactly 10 times each activity, but that is not that important. That's what Maharaj was trying to demonstrate by his own example. I just wanted to share. Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice.
Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, it's a very nice point. In other words, we don't want to forget Krishna's lotus feet going 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to actually see Krishna's lotus feet and serve them. Of course, we don't want to throw out all the rules and regulations of how do you say that? Panchatriki Vidi?
Pancharatriki, Narad Pancharatriki
Yeah,
method, yes. Yeah,
we don't want to just give it up, but we don't want to lose the purpose. We don't want to lose Krishna in the count.
Yes.
Your Krishna
That's
Maharaj
what he
is
was
a
trying
very,
to
very
say.
close friend of mine. Your Krishna Maharaj is a very, very close friend of mine. Many funny stories between the two of us.
Yeah, he's very humorous. We love his class. Every day he gives class. So we are hearing him every day. Very nice. Corona has blessed us, his association. Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. It was nice
Thank
talk.
you.
Thank you for listening. You were very kind, generous. It was so much learning, the humility and all great stuff. Thank you, Maharaj, for sharing with us. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
So I guess we went over the limit here, Abhi. Your
Yep,
Honor.
I was just gonna say. So on that note, we can end for the evening, and I hope that Maharaj will come back again next month, once a month, right, Maharaj?
Yeah, I guess that's what the schedule is. I think His Grace Brahmatirtha next week is really going to entertain you.
Yeah, we'll have.
Be prepared. Brahmatirtha is going to give you some kind of questions that you're not going to be able to answer very easily.
We are ready, Maharaj. Will you join us?
I don't know where I'm going to be next Friday. You know,
let's see.
I mean, I may do it just to hear Brahmatirtha's jokes. I mean, it's
okay. We'll see, Maharaj, what happens next Friday. But we will send you the link.
Yeah, how come you changed the link? I don't understand why changing link.
I don't know what Manjari does. No idea, Maharaj.
What did you say?
Maharaj,
He
why
doesn't
you change the
understand why
link?
the link changed.
I didn't change the link. The link is the same. It's a
Oh,
new every day because we were getting hacked. Mister, I don't know what Manjari does.
I don't know.
What-
Yeah, that you
what
do.
does
I don't know what you do.
You guys are sharing and getting hacked.
Okay.
You guys want to get hacked by some anti people spewing some garbage, and we
Again,
can
now
have
it
the
is
link every day.
9:25. Maharaj has to take rest too.
There's
Oh,
eating,
okay, now you
sleeping,
got
mating, and
Hey,
defending.
Ahana, you were up?
Defending is the strongest propensity.
Okay.
Yeah, I am up.
Okay.
So
Good.
then, so what
Thank
we'll
you
do,
much for keeping us from getting Zoom bombed and getting. So you have to change it every week, or is it just? Will it be the same from now on?
No, Raj, I change it every day.
Every day.
Yep.
Okay. So I sent out a text today early that this would, so you have to give me the link a day in advance because I sent it out to all the people on my WhatsApp Japper group, and I sent it out a little late today, so only a few people got it.
It won't be able to be the day before, Mirage, because we do programs every night. So that would be the one before. So I can send it to you the morning of.
Okay.
Morning of, I can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I see Jai Shri Radhe got a little chuckle out of that exchange there. Haribol, Jai Shri Radhe. Haribol, George, I hope you're feeling okay.
He is the one recovering from COVID, Maharaj?
Yeah, he's recovered now. And then we have, I think that some of our other ones didn't quite make it. They're not feeling so well. They're still improving. We had like 3 or 4 of them get COVID. I think George or Jorge had the mildest case, huh? Just one day without taste and smell and little headache and fever. But the problem is it's combined with fall pollen. So it's just like, it's like pollen, it's like allergies on top of COVID, on top of zero energy or whatever. Okay, so we'll see you in a month.
thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, everyone.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Group, thank you for
Hare
coming.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Tomorrow at 8
No,
o'clock.
no.
Thank you,
Anna,
everyone.
come on, you have to sing.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I'm not done.
Krishna, I would
We're
just
not
like to
done.
invite everybody
We have to sing that
tomorrow.
prayer.
Hold on a second, Manju. Hold on a second. There's a comment.
I would like to invite everybody tomorrow. We're having a Vyasa Puja celebration for His Holiness Rutatwija
I
Swami.
forgot to say that.
So if you need the link, I'm sure Nitai Gaur Sundar Prabhu, you have it.
Yes, I do. I will send it out now. Yeah, Maharaj, 11 o'clock. It
11
may
o'clock Central
11 to
Time.
2 or may last up to 3. But it
Yeah.
starts at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Yeah.
I was supposed to inform that and make the announcement, forgot. Carried away with Maharaj, wonderful class. Okay.
Thank you for your wonderful class, Maharaj. Nice to see you.
Manj, I can't see you.
It's not
Matsya,
Manj,
Maharaj.
Maharaj. Manj's mother.
That's mine. Wait a second. No, I meant to say Matsya, but I said Manj.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I saw you in the beginning because I saw the staircase.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Very
Okay,
nice
Maharaj.
class, Maharaj, and we miss you. We really miss your association here now.
I talk to you every day.
I know, Maharaj. I know.
Okay, so on that note, we'll go ahead
Oh, Amit. Okay, I thought it was Smita. I forgot. See, Smita can't get on because she didn't know the link.
There is Amit and there is Ahana and well, I forget the name. Riddhima.
You got to look at the little tiny pictures, you know.
I know,
I get
Maharaj,
really
they are-
close, like I can see a little bit better by getting close. It doesn't.
Yeah, close, come on close. Yeah, they are lead Kirtan very well. They will be leading tomorrow, Maharaj.
Okay.
And,
Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sridhar, for showing up. It's very nice to see you, Sridhar.
Sriman was there too, Maharaj.
Sriman was there?
Yeah, he was in Boston during medical school. Yeah, but he was there. But he
Oh, I didn't.
left probably a bit late.
Oh, I didn't see his name. I didn't.
It was on second page, Maharaj, because he joined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Stephen was there too.
Nice boy, nice young man. He's not a
Yeah,
boy.
very nice guy.
Okay, I will.
Thank you very much.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.